Hello everyone. I realize that this is a big mess that you're not used to seeing, but welcome to Ephemera Files with Tommy. I assure you this is me. I wanted to show you a project that I undertook with 41 third and fourth graders at camp last week. We made junk journals. You are not too young to make a junk journal if you don't still eat the paper. So I wouldn't suggest this with a 1-year-old, obviously. But my third and fourth graders, they're actually just coming out of second and third grade. They did a phenomenal job of making junk journals. They understood the concept better than most adults that I have tried to explain it to. So get them started early. Children are some of the most creative people you will ever meet in your life because they haven't yet been told that they're not creative. So some of the things that I took for them to choose from in starting their junk journals were a bunch of my scrapbooking papers that I went through and sorted, some smaller papers, little paper pads, scrap packs, a little booklet that has denim prints on it, different little pieces of paper like that. Had a whole lot of donations of stickers and such, and die cuts and alphas, different things like that from some friends that I asked for. I asked for donations on Facebook because when it comes to camp, I find that people are more than willing to give their stuff so kids can learn. Also had a whole bunch of washi, and all this washi came out of my own stash, and it doesn't even begin to scratch the surface. I have an issue. Also had scissors available, glue sticks for each of them. We had rulers and all kinds of tapes. I'm looking for a place to put the washi. I'll just put it here with the fabric because I'm getting ready to show you that too. My lovely daughter-in-law has undertaken making her children, she has 3 daughters, making them clothes. And she is doing a fabulous job. And she donated, this is just a little bit of the fabric that she donated for my camp. And it was used, it was well used, and it was very much appreciated. We had one little girl who fell and had to get 4 stitches in her knee. We just so happened to have some fabric, let's see if I can find it, that had Stitch from Lilo and Stitch. Oh, here's one. And she put that into her junk journal, because even though it wasn't fun getting stitches, it's still a camp memory. We also used yarn, and I'm going to dig a piece of this out so that when I show you how we made the journals, you'll have a better idea of how we did it. You need to make sure that it was one of the stronger yarns. The fluffy ones are really good for decorating and such, but they don't make a really good tie on your journal. So I'll set that right there. We also had available some of the papers that we used from camp. Those were camp schedules. This was about our missionary. There's some camp maps in there that they could choose to use. I also took my basket of scraps, hoping they would help me use it up, and they did, because this thing was full. It was very full. And they dug through and they used things. I'm not sure how, well, I know how these got in here because kids, but that's okay. They were using them, they were having fun, and they were making something that would help them keep memories from camp all together. So what we did, I had a skewer for each kid. Now you have to remind them that these are not for poking anything but paper during this process. Each camper chose 2 of these papers because I wanted them to have some lined papers. This is paper I simply took out of a composition book after cutting the threads. And then they could choose whatever colors they liked from this tub of papers that was also donated to me. Here, I think we're going to use yellow because of my fingernails. And green. And then from the stack of the other scrapbook papers, they were able to choose from that as well. But this is for the basic journal. I told them that they could put the pages in any order they wished. So I'm going to put the yellow between these 2, and I have to fold it because I know that that's where I want it. And then I want the green on the outside. And there we have our hot dog bun, as I called it. When we opened it up like this, we were working on picnic tables, so we had little seams for them to work in. And we put this fold down in the seam, and they poked 2 holes. Super simple. And there was no worrying about papers being lined up or anything. This was their first go at making something like this. Skewers will poke through the paper without really poking you very badly, unless you're doing something on purpose. That's why the warning ahead of time. I had them wiggle it out because we weren't going to be using needles or awls or anything like that. And then the second poke, this is harder to do when I'm not on a picnic table. There we go. Just like that, and wiggle that around. And then we took the yarn and laid it something like that. Because you don't want to do it right on the end because it's going to make your yarn get all frayed and split and everything. Taking the flat end of the skewer, we push that through that hole. Now we don't mess with turning it over or anything because then we're going to get all discombobulated. We lay this across this hole, do the same thing. And we turn it over. And we simply pull the strings and tie it just like your shoelace. I didn't have any beads with me, but I did let the campers know that if they have beads or buttons at home, I'm kind of surprised I didn't think about that before camp, but that they could tie those on there. And since we tied it like a bow, they can always come back and add more papers, like the decorative scrapbook papers that I showed you. Now, at this point, they were ready to decorate, and in comes the stickers and the die cuts, and I also had this box of stamps that I keep just for camp. I don't use them for anything, so it doesn't matter if they get ruined or don't get cleaned off perfectly. I keep it just for camp because it seems like every year I have campers who want to stamp. And then I've got just black ink. That way, whoops, that one has no lid. That's fun. I'll set that to the side so I can find the lid. Here are the other, there it is. Here are the other ink pads. I bought inexpensive ink pads. Because I don't want to have to worry about them getting ruined. And you can see, I've been home from camp since last Friday, and today is Wednesday. It's still nice and juicy, and they are washable. And that way they can use the black to make the outline, and then they can color things in whatever colors they want. And that works out really well. And I throw in this bag of baby wipes because ink happens. I have some photos that I'm going to share with you of some of the junk journals that my campers made. I don't have very many because they were having so much fun making them that I forgot to take pictures. But I do have some photos of them in use. And it was so much fun to see them having so much fun making this super simple journal that they can put their memories in from camp. Do crafts with your kids. Do art with your kids. Don't save it for just the... Childhood is meant to be a time to explore and to learn. And if children aren't allowed to, as Miss Frizzle would say, take chances, make mistakes, and get messy, they don't learn. Their brains don't grow the way that they should. And if they're not allowed to be creative, then we have really done them a disservice. So get your stuff out. Let your kids use it. You're gonna get messy, so what? They will love it, and you will love it, and the world needs more creativity. Thank you for joining me today. Remember, be kind, always.